Hello everyone, we're reading Livy, Book 5, Chapter 22, and are reading out of Livy's Ab Urbe Condita, which is the book he wrote, and this passage takes place during the sack of Veii in 396 BC. After the battle was over, the Romans took everything valuable out of the Etruscan city of Veii, and that is where we are going to start our story in Livy. So we start with this first sentence, cum humanae opus Egestae Veiis essent. So meaning when the resources of the humans had been carried out of Veii, so then we're going to jump down to this verb down here, copere. They began to remove the gifts of the gods from the gods themselves. So they're removing all that out of Veii, and you'll notice here that this is the genitive third declension, but it's not the normal ending of orum, and that's just different right there. So now we're going to jump down to the last clause, which is sed colitium magis quam repientium modo. So, but in the manner of people worshiping the gods, more in the manner of seizing. So they're essentially saying here that they seized the city, but they did it in a way that they were honoring the gods and not seizing the city. So then it's this next sentence, namquam delicati ex omne exercti juvenes, young men selected from all the army, with their bodies having been ritually washed. So right here you see an ab, and then this word construction, which means ritually washed. And then we have white clothing, and then we're referring back to the young men. So the young men selected to whom Queen Juno had been assigned to carry back to Rome. And then we have and entered the temple in religious awe. So then this word right here meaning religious awe, and then in ire should have an erunt ending, or that's how you usually see it in written Latin. So now they're inside the temple. So at first the young men, so referring back to them, moved their hands in a religious way. Because unless you were of a certain family, a priest was not accustomed to make that sign by Etruscan custom. Then when one of them, so we have this beginning cum clause, whether touched by a divine spirit or a youthful joke, had said, and this is in the pluperfect subjunctive, do you want to go to Rome, Juno? The rest of them shouted the goddess designated by a nod. So right here in the story, we hear something that Livy threw in, which is, then it was added to the story. So Livy's giving his own commentary. That a voice also was heard of her saying she wanted to. So the goddess wanted to go. At all events, we have it that she was moved from her place by the administration of small means of labor. She was light and easy to transport. So we move down here, and this is the supine right there. So light and easy to transport, as though in the manner of one following. So in the manner of one following. Starting with this next line, we know that it's implied from the line before that she was brought uninjured to the Aventine, her eternal seat, in the place where the Roman dictators' vow had had called for, where the same Camillus who had vowed it, dedicated a temple to her afterwards. So now at the last line of it, we have one very long sentence, but it encapsulates the whole reading. So, such was the fall of Veii, the most wealthy city in the Etruscan name, showing its greatness even in its final overthrow. Because having been sieged for 10 summers and winters straight, and inflicting more loss than it sustained, it ended at last to destiny. Nevertheless, by works, not by force, it was conquered. So to recap the story, the Romans, when they were sacking the city, they took all of the riches, and then they found this statue in a temple, and they were jokingly, or we don't know, it could really be anything, asked her if she wanted to go to Rome, and she said yes. So here lies the story of the talking statue.